Welcome to the Tools, Tech, and Gear YouTube channel. I'm Seth. Today I have the A-Zone 500 watt solar LED street light. Let's pull this out of the box, take a look at its features, set it up outside, and see how well it operates. Little instruction booklet. We have the mounting pole. So this right here has a metal bracket that goes on the back. So you can either mount this flat on a wall or go around a pole. We will probably try both of those in this review here. Has a remote control. Yep, there's the battery, so cool. They are included. And this back here is the mounting bracket, I believe, for the solar panels, so we'll get to that as well. Okay, here is the light. We'll take a little bit closer look at this in a moment, but you can see right there, lots of LEDs to work with, IP65. Okay, it has two different bags of hardware, so these right here will be used for mounting to a pole. Got the batteries in there. And these are used if you have a concrete wall you need to attach this to. And now if I pull up this foam packaging, we can access the solar panel up under here. Luckily, does not have any cracks from shipping. Has a single piece of styrofoam up underneath. And there is the little power cord. So just checking out this panel real quick, 30 watts. 6 volt, 5 amp. VOC is 7.2 volts, and maximum system is 1,000 volts. So anyway, 6 volt system is what we're working with here. Once again, taking a look at all the stuff that comes in this package, you can see it's a good bit. So it looks like the power cord for the light is in here. I wonder if there is any kind of external buttons. I don't see any, so I think you have to use the remote for all of your controls. All right, so lots of LEDs in here. You've got a sensor right there, and then over here is where this would attach to the pipe right here. And then the solar panel has this bracket right here, which should attach here on this pole, and that'll allow you to angle the solar panel and swivel into the sun. So very cool. All right. Let's go ahead and take this outside real quick and get it installed. I just made this little light testing stand here. So it's got a 2x4 for screwing into here, so I could potentially put it here. But for now, we're just going to test here on the pole, as you can see, like this. So I was looking at the little pipe, and it's a fairly thin gauge, and it's just been powder coated, and I can already see it may have some rust issues at some point, but it should do just fine to hold up this light. I'm going to open up the bag of hardware that was provided and get a couple of the long bolts out. To install this onto a pole, I'm going to simply take one of those long bolts there and then put a nut on the back side. Probably should check to see if they have any washers in there. So likewise, I'm going to take another one over here on the other side. Do that. This is a 2-inch piece of conduit. Looks like this would be able to attach to a much larger piece of pipe. I'd say maybe even up to 4-inch possibly. A socket would be much more practical, but I'm just going to tighten this here with a pair of pliers. I just noticed in the other bag of hardware was this little tiny wrench, so you definitely have what you need to get this installed, although I would probably recommend using something else to keep this nice and tight, like a socket set. Now that I have this pole attached to my stand pole here, I'm going to take this U-shaped piece with one of these bolts, put that in first, put this in here, and then I can use one of the included nuts to keep that locked down. And that can be adjusted later, so I may keep that a little bit loose. And then do the same over here on the other side. Taking a look at the solar panel here, looks like I'm going to have some patience to get the nuts here up under this panel and then match this up here to get it screwed into place. So we'll see how well it works. It also does not come with a Phillips head screwdriver, so had to go grab one of those real quick. That wasn't so bad. I basically just set this nut down on the panel, slid it into place so that I could match up with my screw here, and it worked out pretty painless. All right, I'm going to finish that with the other side over here before we get this put onto the pole. Now that I have the U piece here on the pole, and then I have the bracket here on the bottom of the solar panel, I should be able to line up the holes right here with this panel, and then I can now match the holes with my screws as well. The panel is attached now, but there are other holes at the bottom, and that's going to be used to angle this into the sun. But I want to make sure my light's installed first, and so to do that, I need to go to these little screws right here and loosen them up with the included Allen wrench. Now I can take the cord on the back side of the light, place it into the pipe, and then feed it out the bottom down here. And then this will simply slide over the pole. May have to loosen these up just a touch more. Yeah, the fit is just right, so have to get those loose. Okay, there we go. And now these right here are going to be what holds everything together. So go ahead and tighten that down. If you needed this light to angle off to the side, you could certainly do that by adjusting how this fits. The cord from the solar panel is designed to hang down so that water will drip off. So just press the two different ends together, make sure they're nice and snug, and then cinch those down with the little plastic threads there. Okay. And that's it for connecting the solar panel. So now, if I angle this up into the sun, I can do that. And like before, we didn't tighten these down, so I can left and right. So, I can adjust that into the sun at a certain angle. Because of my placement here, I'm going to keep this fairly straight up and down, and then go from there. But of course, it'll be separate or different from your own installation. So the last thing to do is to find one of these holes that lines up to where you want it. Be sure to put the nut on the back side. The last thing to tighten up is those two right there in the middle. So you find the angle that you like, and then you just simply tighten that down to lock it into place so it doesn't blow around anywhere. And that's what the install looks like here on a pole. So the solar panel sticks up into the sun, as you can see right there. It's mounted to this pole. So the 2-inch works fine. You'd probably want to put a washer in here, to be honest. That was not included in the pack, but would be very helpful to have that. And then it would go up to, I think, a 4-inch pipe would be fine. Maybe a little bit small, have to see, at least a 3-inch. So the pipe underneath continues on. You can attach your light here. You can adjust the angle if you want it to be left or right a little bit. And once again, you can adjust the angle of your solar panel by moving these screws or these screws. And then the light itself, the front glass is held on by these little C-clamps. And you can tell that up here on the top, there's definitely nowhere for water to be getting into. And if we move down here, where you can actually see the light, it's got just an IPX or an IP65. Now I'm noticing right here, it is blinking. So it's got 4 red and then 1 blinking green, which I'm assuming means it's charged. And then over here is where your sensor is, right over in here. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is let this thing charge for the rest of the day. And this evening, we will come back and do a test with using our remote control here. So on the remote, you have a red button. I've got on, off, brighter, less bright, your positive, negative, M, auto, 3-hour, 8-hour, and 5-hour settings. The auto is going to do dusk to dawn. So as soon as the sun is out, the panel will turn charging on and the light will be off. And as soon as the sun goes down, the light will turn on because it's no longer charging. I've stepped back out here after dark and you can see the light is already on and it is quite bright. Now we got a good bit of rain here at the house and the rain got onto this cord and now it just drips off there. Now you could have wound that around up in here to keep that from blowing around in the wind. But anyway, so far everything is working well with the rain. No issues with it getting to those LEDs. So you can see right here, this is 500 watts full brightness and very bright. You can definitely see how well that would spread out over a long distance. So let's go ahead and check out this remote control. So first of all, let me push the off button, which is right up here. And you can see the 4 battery lights showing that it is, I don't know, 80% full or so. And then whenever a couple seconds goes by, those turn off. So let me push the on button. There we go. We step back here a bit. Okay, and so now on the remote, you can do like all the way dim by pushing this lower button, or you can do all the way bright by pushing the top one, or you can do a ramp. So the side over here, once it double blinks, it means that it has reached the lowest or highest setting. So let me ramp this back up here. There we go. And now if I were to push the auto button right here, that means that it's going to turn on by itself as soon as it has no more sun on the panel. And as soon as sun pops out in the morning, it's going to turn off the light and start charging. Or I can push the 3-hour, 5-hour, and 8-hour. So I'll do that here in a bit and we'll see this thing turn off after 3 hours, hopefully. So, okay, so let's go ahead and leave this on the highest setting. And I may put the camera aside real quick so you can see how bright it is from a distance. I've moved the camera back about 30 feet and you can see just how bright this light is on me here. I think if you had 4 of these on a basketball court, you'd be able to play at night, no problem whatsoever. So definitely bright. Okay, now that you've seen how bright this is here at night, I'm going to press the remote to do 3 hours. There we go, that should do it. And I'll step back out and see how that is in 3 hours. I've continued to test the A-zone street light now for 3 more nights, and I have found that the timer mode actually is not quite what it says on the remote. So the 3-hour setting ran for 2.5, so it's just not going to be quite what it says on the remote, but it's fairly close. So as functionality goes, everything seems to work. Those time settings are maybe a little bit off, but the dusk to dawn works just fine, and seems to be a quality light. I think you may have a little bit of issue with the powder coat here on the pipes at some point, but as far as all the other functions go, it's working just fine. Now, of course, you'll be mounting this a lot higher than I am, so it'll spread out a lot more. But you can see how bright it is here in the video. If you're interested in checking out more information on the A-Zone 500 watt street light, then I have a link to that in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Seth with Tools, Tech, and Gear, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.